Hi. Hi.
Yanimadat everybody and welcome. Before we begin tonight's proceedings, I'd like to invite Nafisa to come and say a short prayer.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين يا رب العالمين.
Yalimadat, and welcome to all of you this evening. Those of you who are here with us physically, and those of you who are joining us virtually from centers outside of Nairobi. This is actually the National Council's first live stream, and we have an audience from Mombasa, Kisumu, Rwanda, Burundi, and South Africa. So welcome to all of them as well. My name is Shazman Shamji, and I am delighted to be your MC tonight. Tonight, we are privileged to have with us leadership from the University of Central Asia, including Vazir Shamsh Kassim-Lakha, who is the chairman of the board of the University of Central Asia. I would also like to acknowledge Jamati leadership, President Saiba, members of the National Council, Muki Sahib, Mukanima, and Kamariya Sahib, Kamariyanima, and Jamati members. Thank you for being here today. Tonight, Vazir Kassim-Lakha will be speaking on the University of Central Asia. He will be sharing with the Jamat the vision, objectives, accomplishments, and future plans of UCA. I know that Vazir Sahib, who has had many distinguished years of experience in higher education, will share with you much more about UCA, but I wanted to share a quick fact. Did you know that UCA was established in the year 2000, and its campuses are located in Narian in Kyrgyzstan and in Khorog in Tajikistan? Its third campus in the mountain ranges of Kazakhstan is in its planning stages. So to begin our evening, I would like to now invite President Shamira Dost Mohammed to officially welcome you to this evening's event.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ya Ali Madat, Mukhi Kamariya Sahibs, Mukhani Kamarani Sahibas, leaders of the Jamat and members of our Jamat, Ya Ali Madat, and welcome. It is my absolute honor and privilege to welcome to Kenya and to introduce our most distinguished Jamati and institutional leader, Vazir Sahib Shamsh Kassim-Lakha. He is not a stranger to Kenya, but we are privileged tonight to have him here physically with us and to have agreed to give us some time to speak to us about the University of Central Asia. Again, I welcome our Jamats from the jurisdiction, Rwanda, Burundi, South Africa, Kisumu, that are online with us. And inshallah, Vazir Sahib will be speaking to the Jamat in Mombasa tomorrow. I think just to put some context to Vazir Sahib, like I said, he is no stranger to Kenya. He has an illustrious leadership, bringing some most forthcoming leaders in our Jamati institutions. And he will tell us about his journey and why he is at UCA. But Vazir Sahib is the chairman of the Board of Trustees of UCA and has been for the last decade. Whilst based in Bishkek from 2014 to 2022, he also served as the diplomatic representative of the Aga Khan Development Network to Kyrgyzstan. He is the founding president of the AKU University, Aga Khan University, Pakistan, where he served for 30 years and was responsible for leading its spectacular growth from Pakistan to East Africa, UK, and Afghanistan. Wazir Shams Kassim-Lakha has served in senior positions in the Pakistan government as well, including as Minister of Education and Minister of Science and Technology. In recognition of his academic and social work, he received the distinguished awards of Sitara A. Imtiaz and Hilal A. Imtiaz from the President of Pakistan, Officer of the National Order of Merit from the President of France, as well as from Kyrgyzstan. He has received honorary degrees from McMaster University and Aga Khan University. He is also a senior distinguished fellow at the Monk School of Global Affairs and Public Policy at the University of Toronto. And these are just few snippets of the high achievements the Wazir Sahib has achieved over his lifespan, and which has put us as a Jamaat very proud that he is with us today. Wazir Sahib is accompanied by Malik Kotadia, who oversees the advancement and public affairs at the University of Central Asia. He has held leadership roles at the Aga Khan Development Network for over 2 decades. As the founding CEO at the Aga Khan Foundation Egypt, Malik raised substantial resources from a range of donors in partnership with Seneca College Canada, established Aswan Governorate largest TVET program, and with AKU led a university improvement program for Aswan University, the largest public university in that region. Malik Kotadia has served as a member of the American University in Cairo's Advisory Council for its School of Continuing Education and on the boards of Habiba Foundation and the First Microfinance Foundation, where he also chaired their audit committee. Today we are privileged to hear about the second university in our Jamaat, followed by AKU, the University of Central Asia. We will hear about the vision, the mission, the objectives of Mawlana Hazar Imam in setting up this university in Central Asia. And we will inshallah get a glimpse of the Jamats, our brothers and sisters in this region. And I promise you it is going to be an extremely inspiring and interesting discussion and presentation. So let us put our hands together and welcome Wazir Shams Kassim-Lakha.
President Shamira, members of the National Council, and the Nairobi Council leadership, President and members, Namdar Mukhi Sahib, Kamariya Sahib, Mukhiyanima Kamariyanima, Kamariya Sahib, and I think Mukhi Sahib is still busy winding up his duties. I want to acknowledge some very important members of the Jamaat who have made it possible for us to be here, and they are the volunteers of our Jamaat who've done a fantastic job of organizing this program. Of course, among this audience, I see some remarkably generous people who, during my time at AKU, were overwhelmingly generous. And with that barakat, once they started supporting AKU, then other institutions they were able to support, because Allah gives barakat. when you do good things, when you support and take the pain of his humanity. Muki Sahib, thank you so much for coming. So I don't want to take too much time. We are a bit behind schedule, and I know that people are all anxious to get back home before the rain may start. So let's quickly move on. And I'm going to move around, because I'm going to stand behind this. This university, go ahead, is located in a region called Central Asia. What is Central Asia? Many people know it, some people don't know it, but Central Asia is that red section in the global map here, which consists of 5 countries as we know them: Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan. You remember all of them, right? Okay, next slide. And in this region, it is a tough neighborhood. Russia to the north, east we have China, south Afghanistan. Always a dangerous place. And of course Pakistan, never a safe place. And I know Pakistan a little bit. And of course Iran. And then this region has a population of 72 million, 19 of whom live in Kazakhstan. And Kazakhstan is this green section. You know how big Kazakhstan is? Let's turn down the volume from that side. You know how big there is an echo coming out. I'm supposed to go here? All right. So in Kazakhstan, it is, that's the reason I don't want to. Kazakhstan is, I think is there a possibility to move the mics out? The question is that we can do something? I know, but maybe if I put it here, it may be less loud. No? What? All right. What cannot be cured must be endured. So, this Kazakhstan is so large that if you take Western Europe, which is to say from Ireland to Italy, and from Norway to southern Spain and Portugal, you take all of those countries and put them together and put them into Kazakhstan, there is room for more countries. It is that large a region. Just one country is larger than whole of Western Europe. Next. And sorry, just one second. And it is also a region where Russian is the lingua franca, and of course after the war of Ukraine, things have changed over there as well. But let me go back a little bit into maybe 1,000 or more years ago, where we find that the crucible of civilization was Central Asia. How can I tell you that? Look who's here. Everybody knows him, right? Those who don't know him, raise your hands. Okay, almost everybody doesn't know him. This is Ibn Sina. You know who Ibn Sina was? I think now you know all of that. He was one of the greatest scientists, known as the father of Western medicine. He was born in an Ismaili family in Central Asia and discovered circulation system, the germ theory, this COVID business. He knew that it's germs which create the problem. Okay? And for 500 years, Western medical schools taught his book called The Canon of Medicine by Ibn Avicenna. They call him not Ibn Sina, they call him Avicenna. And after 500 years, they advanced. The point I'm making is that there were Muslims who were so advanced that their civilization was moving forward because they had an enabling environment. And after we closed the doors of ijtihad, then the Western world became more powerful because they were the ones who were at the forefront of creating knowledge. And we have to be one day come back and create knowledge, so that the Ummah and humanity at large benefits not just the Western world. I'm not saying rivalry. We must learn from the Western world, as indeed the Western world learned from the Muslim world at one time. So, moving first quickly, you know, all the numericals that you have, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they are from the Arabic. The zero was invented in India and in Central Asia. So the Western world is also benefiting from this moving forward. But the problem was when the Soviet Union came, it was very strong. For 72 years, it took away much of the initiative, even whatever was left. Next. Okay. And when the Soviet Union came, the countries became extremely poor. Their poverty levels were very high. 90% of the people became poor. And they didn't have food to eat, no grain, no eggs, no chicken, no protein. And it was so bad that in the Tajikistan area, where our Jamat lives largely, people were reduced to cutting trees or their fruit trees in order to keep warm in the winter. They had complete famine until AKF, on Hazar Imam's instructions, sent wheat flour, milk powder, oil, sugar. All of that was sent from Kazakhstan and from Russia and elsewhere. So this is how the situation was. But this area is also very rich. Quickly, if you just move the slides, you will see that it holds so much of the mineral deposits. 23,000 tons of gold is in that region. Next. And we have a proven reserve of 31 billion barrels of oil and 16 trillion cubic meters of gas. And Kazakhstan is also the world's largest producer of uranium. Next. And of course, now with China coming into the picture, the Belt and Road Initiative has cut the time between Shanghai and Italy from 65 or 95 days to just 10 to 12 days with the railway. So Central Asia is a very important transport potential, and moving forward, this is one of the biggest dry ports in the world, where all the Chinese goods are going to Europe and coming back through that route. And because of the situation of Central Asia, after the Ukrainian war and all the mineral wealth and everything they have, the Western world also has woken up. First time, President Biden, who is shown here in the middle over here, right here, he sat with the 5 presidents of the 5 Central Asian countries to say, how can we work together? They woken up, understandably. So Central Asia, they woke up in 2023. We've been there forever. But in 1995, that's when things changed, when Hazar Imam went for the first time. And of course, you see this Foreign Secretary of Lord Cameron. Recently, he was, just last month, he was in Bishkek to see how we can work together. Next. So, we all know that socio-economic progress depends on human resources. Some of you heard me earlier explaining that without socio-economic development, without developing our human resources, no society can make progress. So, the issue was, we've got all this wealth, but all this poverty as well. How can we make things become different and change the destiny of that part of the world? Conclusion, Hazar Imam went there in 1995. I had the good fortune of being in the entourage, and we were discussing all the time. He was asking us, how do we change the destiny of these people? Not just the Ismailis, but all people who were there. And so we concluded that the region was short of human resources, and developing the future leaders and entrepreneurs was the only way we can change the destiny. Next. Enter the Aga Khan Development Network. All of you, or most of you, are familiar with this chart. I just put it here because we just want to know that we have economic development, social development, and cultural development are the... What? No. I'm fine. Oh, the online they can't hear? Turn this off. Hello, can you hear me in Nakuru or wherever it is, Kisumu or Kiambu? I don't know where they are. All right. So I do apologize to people outside Nairobi that we could not see because you could not hear our presentation. But I will just mention that we are now at a situation where there are human resources through which things can change in Central Asia, and therefore AKDN was brought into the picture. And within the AKDN, everybody knows Aga Khan University, and then we have its sister university called the University of Central Asia. The University of was founded in 2000 under an governments of Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, registered at the United Nations. Now this is better. Thank you. Can they hear me over there? Okay, good. All right. So this was registered with the United Nations as an international treaty, which makes it very difficult for anybody to move out of the treaty without having to work with the UN as well. And in the process, the United Nations recognizes UCA as an international organization. Excuse me. What does it mean? It means that any privileges that governments give to UN agencies, we get the same. Of course, separate treaty we had. Under this treaty, all the taxes were forgiven by the governments. That's their contribution. It's not forgiving, but they are giving that as a contribution. The expatriates don't pay any taxes, so we can hire them at a lower cost. And many other privileges that were given to the university. And when there is a diplomatic function, we are invited along with the Red Cross or any of the FAO and other UN agencies, we also get invited. So it's a very different status compared to AKU, which has its own status, of course. I wanted to move on further. So this institution is secular. AKU is called the Muslim University. You remember that? This is not a Muslim university. In the logo of AKU, you have the Quranic ayat. وَاتَّسَيْمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَاللَّهُ تَفَرَّقُوا. Hold fast to the rope that Allah has stretched out before you. Sorry, I will not recite the whole ayat, but you know it, you have heard it many times. It's not for profit. It's okay, I'll help myself. Moving on. It is also a regional university. Right from the beginning, was not like AKU, which started in Pakistan, then decided to come here. Hazar Imam decided that it will be a regional university right from the outset. Campuses in 3 states and a range of programs across Afghanistan and Central Asia. Now, Central Asia has become part of Afghanistan. And so, here is the vision of the Chancellor for the university. What is that vision? It says, by creating intellectual space and resources, the University of Central Asia will help turn the mountains that divide the nations and territories of Central Asia into links that unite its peoples and economies in a shared endeavor to improve their future well-being. The mountains that are dividing, we make them connect the nations and peoples. And the purpose is to benefit the people not just for researcher to do all the researches and getting publications and getting all the accolades, but actually how will you benefit the people through your research, through your study. Next. So when we look at it, one of the objectives we have is improving quality of life of mountain societies through socio-economic development, and we offer internationally recognized standard of higher education, which enables peoples of the region to preserve their rich cultural heritage and promote their cultural heritage at the same time. Next. So here is the first board of trustees of the university. You recognize at least 3 people in there, if not 4 people. So you'll see that Mawlana Hazar Imam, as in AKU, is the Chancellor of the university. Prince Rahim, Princess Zara, here is the trustee from Kyrgyzstan. Over there at the far end is the trustee from Kazakhstan, nominated by the presidents of the countries. And we have Naguib Khairaj over there. Some of you know him as well. Up there, the Swiss gentleman, he is a professor in Switzerland on mountain studies. And next to him is a very distinguished Chinese scholar who is also he was until recently head of a UN agency for agriculture and research in food security. And then, sorry, come back. You don't move until I tell you to move. There is this lady over here who is from Tajikistan, whose name is Sharofat. She is an Itmadi Sahiba. And she is a professor. She was, and she was also the president of the National Council. And we are very proud to have a board like this. This is the initial board. You can recognize, some of you can recognize, this is Imamat, where we had our first meeting in 2017. Next. Okay, just go back a little. Just stay there. That's fine. That's very good. You see, this is a picture of the regalia of the university. Most of you know about the colors of AKU. But here, the color is not green. It's blue. Now, why is it blue? People ask me, why did he not pick up some other yellow, pink, or whatever? And the blue color is a very powerful, logical reason for putting it there. So when we were debating what colors we should have, Hazar Imam said, you tell me what are your recommendations? As typical. He never makes decisions like this. Of course, he makes decisions also like this. But in these kinds of matters, he consults everybody. And so he told us to develop a paper and tell me what color we should have. So we searched around, and for a long time they couldn't find the right color to recommend. So they were using black and white, because he said, until you decided what it is, just use black and white. So our letterhead had a black and white color. Letters in black and the white paper. But then, after we studied it, we thought we have a recommendation. We gave it to him, and we said it should be blue. And his immediate question was, why? Of course, it was written up that blue is a color which is highly respected in Central Asia. Of all the colors, many of the flags of Central Asia, almost all of them, except Kyrgyzstan, has the blue color. Kyrgyzstan is red. So they have some color blue there, but why do they have blue and why do they respect blue? The answer is that it is reflecting the sky, because that region is mountainous region, and when you go into the mountains and see the sky, it is a very beautiful color. In Nairobi, you have a difficulty finding the sky. At least the last 1 week, we haven't found it. So in Central Asia, you get this beautiful color of blue, and people respect that. For centuries, they've respected that. So that was the color we recommended, and he agreed. You see that the gowns of the Chancellor, what is the color? White and gold, which is the same color as AKU. There is a little bit of green in the AKU, here there is a little bit of blue. Why do we have a gown that the Chancellor is wearing that is white and gold? Any guesses? Look, when we were debating the AKU gown, we had to decide what color the Chancellor will wear. He can't wear the same color, we said. We have to have a different color. And we researched and we came to the conclusion that it should be white and gold, because that was the color of the Fatimid Caliphs when they were wearing ceremonial robes. They were wearing white and gold. When Al-Azhar was founded by Imam al-Muizz, that was the color that he must have worn. I wasn't there, there's no photograph. But we are told that this was the color. When Eid Namaz was recited, khutbah was offered, then the Imam wore those robes. And we submitted, and Hazar Imam very graciously accepted our request to have his gown distinguished by these colors. So now you know, and tomorrow somebody will ask you, then you will tell them how and why, because it's important for us to know that there is a logic behind every decision. It is not just off the air. Next. This is a picture taken at the inauguration of the Nareen campus. We had, I was appointed in 2014, and Hazar Imam said to me, he said, look, he had already appointed me earlier together with the President of Tajikistan to chair the commission that was going to look at the way in which the university would be developed and what it will do and how it will work. So he knew that I had a deep knowledge of this university and what we are trying to do. But in 2014, after I had retired from AKU almost 8 years, he said, I want you to come back. I said, wow, I'm retired. And I was 72 or whatever it was. And he said, well, you know, when we started AKU, I knew little about universities and you didn't know anything about universities. But both of us went to university, but that is all. But we learned about how a university should be built, how it should be operated, what are the attributes, what is the way in which you evaluate and assess and determine the quality of a university. He said, therefore, I want you to go to Central Asia and start my second university. So Amin, and there began the journey. And of course, as you heard, we were there, my wife and I, for many years. And as a AKDN diplomatic representative, he was very kind. But in 2 years, we built the campus. It was a very tough job because no raw material except sand was available locally, and gravel, sorry. So the gravel and sand came from the river, which is flowing right on the campus. Everything else we brought from outside. Every little screw, every little washer, every window pane, every piece of chalk came from outside. This is a mountain region, and you will see pictures of it. Move to the next one. During the inauguration, see who was present. We had Prince Ali Muhammad, Princess Zara, as you see over here, and of course Prince Rahim was also. Hazar Imam came with all three of his children. Prince Hussein was not there, but the three children came. And he came all the way, and he drove 4 hours in the snow to come to the inauguration of the campus. Moving on. So quickly I want to tell you, we have one university, but we have 3 schools. The School of Arts and Sciences, the Graduate School of Development, and the School of Continuing Education. Moving forward, this university and its 3 schools are located on 16 different geographic locations. We have 3 main residential campuses for the School of Arts and Sciences, which are here in Korog, in Tajikistan, and in Nareen, Kyrgyzstan, and in Tekeli over there in Kazakhstan. All of them are in mountain regions because this is a university designed to improve the quality of life of people of the mountain regions. And interestingly, all of them are 150 kilometers or less from the Chinese border. It's an interesting thing. I want you to think about it. And we have also 5 locations in Afghanistan. And we are doing very well. I'll tell you later on about some of the details. And moving to the next slide, I want to show you a video. Talking is fine, and I can give you all the good stuff, but when you see, then you can see it and believe in it a little bit more. So please start the video.
Hello everyone, and greetings from the University of Central Asia.
The University of Central Asia is a secular, private, not-for-profit institution founded in 2000 under an international treaty by the governments of Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, and Kazakhstan, and the Ismaili Imamat. The presidents of these founding states are patron of the university, and His Highness the Aga Khan is the Chancellor. The mission of the University of Central Asia is to bring the power of education and human ingenuity to the many unique challenges faced by marginalized mountain communities in Central Asia.
I, as an individual, can take a variety of SPCE courses that build a bouquet of qualifications. So, for example, I'm in tourism. I may need some English sufficient for me to deal with my clients. I need introductory accounting so I can calculate my costs. I need a little bit of IT so I can establish a website. And then I need to know something about the tourism business. So in the course of a year, I can pick and choose various modules and build a portfolio of qualifications that make me rather unique. And that is something that employers find very, very attractive, that you have multiple skills and not just a very narrowly specialized one.
Research is the other measure of a university's success. UCA defines itself as a research-oriented university. Central Asia and its mountain communities face many challenges, including the impacts of climate change, building reliant communities, alleviating poverty through quality economic growth, and advancing technological innovation. These problems are analytically complex, and there are no easy solutions. The fundamental goal is to achieve levels of excellence in research, measured by global standards, to bring genuine value to those we are committed to educating.
So the Graduate School of Development is the leading research institute in this region. It's committed to studying the mountain societies of Central Asia, in Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, and it's multidisciplinary. It's perhaps, to my knowledge, the only single unified unit, probably in any university in the world, which contains environmental and earth scientists, economists, political scientists, anthropologists, civil society experts, historians, cultural specialists, and so on. So it's a real multidisciplinary school aimed at studying the mountain societies of the region.
There is no typical liberal arts college in these parts of the world, because traditionally, the system of education in post-Soviet countries, and the task for that education was to provide mass education for the future engineers for the big factories. So the idea now is that teach students how to learn.
So what I love about UCA is that we have all the facility, all this modern technology that we can use for our studies, like lab, creative studio, where we just go and do the creative part, taking photos, videos. So we try to spend our time wisely and do something productive.
This would not have been possible without the collaboration of our academic partners. Through their support, we ensure the quality of UCA's academic programs and training of faculty.
This campus seems to have everything that you would think it needs. It's got a beautiful library, it's got great eating facilities, it's got dormitories, it's got classrooms, and everything is state-of-the-art. Everything here is the way you would get it. In fact, in some of the better universities in America, they're so old that they don't have some of the electronics that are necessary and plugs for everybody to use their computers. This place is designed to make it easy to study. One of the things that caught my attention is how many of these students are not looking for an escape hatch. They're not looking for a ripcord. They're not here to get out. This is not their ticket out of Central Asia. They want to improve Central Asia. Their whole idea is, how do I make it better? How do I bring some of the things that I know exist elsewhere in the world, some of the comforts and some of the improvements that'll make people feel more prosperous and improve their standard of living? And I think that's fascinating. So many times when you come from an isolated area, a university is your ticket out. They're not looking for a ticket out. They're looking for a ticket out.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this film, right? It was produced by our in-house team that works with Malik and some of our students and faculty. We didn't spend a single dollar or shilling making this film. It was all in-house. You can see the quality. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So, no, that's the same video. Okay, good, we are here. So I want to tell you a little bit more about the different schools that we have. The School of Professional and Continuing Education is one of the most powerful schools that I know of. Why is it that good? We do teach students who are adult learners and young students also. And they learn English, finance, coding and cybersecurity, plumbing, welding, carpentry, automotive repairs, and automotive repairs for long-haul trucks which are relying on electronics. They have all the chips that they need, so you can't just start cranking up and afanya kazi. It doesn't work. So there is also entrepreneurship. It's very important to have entrepreneurship to be created. Moving forward, so all the vocational skills for adults and young students, and next one. And so far we have graduated 247,000 people have come out of this university. And 52% of them are women. Isn't that a good thing? And in 16 locations, as I mentioned to you. And of course, we worked on it for about 10, 12 years, 18 years, and we said, not 18, about 12 years, and we said, now we must evaluate. Is it doing a good job or not? And it must be evaluated by an external expert. So we appointed two parties. One was the College of the Rockies from Canada in Alberta, and the Statistics Canada, which is the Government Statistics Bureau of Canada. They sent their experts, They looked at all the students who had graduated and those who were studying. They surveyed them. They wanted to know how was that education, what has it benefited, what happened. 90% of them said, we have met our goals. 90%. If you get that in a hotel, you are over the moon, right? So 75% said we improved the chances of finding new jobs or better jobs, and 88% found jobs in their own community. They didn't have to go to Dubai to find a job. All of these jobs were available locally. And of course, civic engagement was increased. So let me give you a couple of examples. I can give you this, but let's drill down. Here is Mr. and Mrs. Jakipov. They are chicken farmers. They didn't have as many chickens as that, but they had 24 chickens, and they were doing some farming. And he heard that in Bishkek, which is the capital of Kyrgyzstan, they have chicken farms. There are people here who are very knowledgeable about chicken farms, I know. So the school had developed a program for chicken farming and teaching them also how to do other farming activities. And the conclusion, this man went to the school, he studied there, and then we said you have to go for 3 weeks to Bishkek to be in an internship with a big chicken farm, so you know practical part of it. This is all theory is fine. And in the theoretical part, we not only showed them about the diseases of chickens and so on and how to overcome them, but also how to keep books, how to market. All of these things were taught. And the result was they produced so many eggs that he now, next slide, he comes to UCA and says, now here are my chickens and eggs. We never had chicken and eggs in Narin before as many. We used to bring them from Bishkek, 4 hours away by car. So here they were making chickens and eggs and coming to us. And you know what happened? The neighbors saw this man becoming rich. They said, we also want to make chicken and we want to make eggs and chicken farming. So we said, and he advised them, go to UCA and study, and then you become a farmer. That's what they did. And today they have got a dozen farmers, poultry farmers, who are in a cooperative society. They formed a cooperative society. They are one of the biggest suppliers of eggs. And this is how UCA creates jobs and creates wealth. You understand? This is the objective of giving people rozgar, as they say. Next, let me give you the example of another young woman. This time she is from Khorog. Khorog, as you know, is the capital of Badakhshan province of Tajikistan. It is also a very large population of Ismailis. 99% in Tajikistan province of Badakhshan are members of the Jamat. Do you know how big a Jamat that is? If you add up the Jamat of United States and Canada and UK and Europe and Kenya and Tanzania and DRC and Uganda and every other Jamat in Africa, that Jamat is bigger by a factor of 3 to 4. That's how big that Jamat is. So it's a very, very large community and does not have the wealth that you have. Our forefathers didn't have the wealth when they migrated from India. You remember that, from Kutch and Kathiawar and Sindh and places. So we created wealth here. But now we have to create wealth in their own region. So to give you an example of wealth creation and entrepreneurship, this young woman, Munira Mira Mamadova, you remember the name, right? Munira Mamadova. Mira Mamadova, she was a young, bright young woman who came to our school, learned it, 6 months, 8 months, she studied. She wanted to be open a restaurant or become a hotelier. So she then set up a coffee shop. Why did she set up a coffee shop? I asked her. And she said, there were no coffee shops in my town. I thought everybody in the world is drinking coffee, but in my town there is no coffee shop. Why don't I start? The entrepreneurial spirit. And she set up this coffee shop for the first time, and it became a huge success. Then some people said, well, you got coffee shop in this part of the town, what about some other part of the town? So then she was very enterprising, and she set up a KFC over there. You see KFC? You know what it is? Not Kentucky Fried Chicken, it's Korog Fried Chicken. So this young lady was smart enough that she used the alphabets of KFC without breaching the royalty or the copyright of KFC. So it says there, Korog Fried Chicken. And she started this, next slide, and you can see the KFC of Korog looks better than any KFC you've seen anywhere. And then she was so famous and doing so well that some other entrepreneurs from Dallas and places said, we also want to invest. We'll give you encouragement. So she opened a third restaurant. Go on. This time it was called the Looney Cafe, the Moon Cafe. And look at how beautiful that is. And the barista is dressed just like Starbucks. Next. The fourth restaurant she opened was called the World Cuisine Restaurant. And I have eaten in that place. And believe you me, it is as good as anything I have eaten anywhere. So she serves Tajik food, French food, Pakistani Indian food, and all kinds of Chinese food. So it's world cuisine. And people go there. If any visitor who comes to Korog wants to go there. And it's delicious food. Next. Go on. So our UCA's idea is to develop job creators, not job seekers. Here we have a situation around the world that people get a degree, they're running around with a piece of paper, I want a job. Or give me a favor and I'll do a job. Our aim is to make them into entrepreneurial individuals. So they start creating jobs by creating enterprises. Not seeking jobs, but creating jobs. Next. So let's quickly come to the School of Arts and Sciences. At this time, we have very large campuses in all three towns, but only 10% of the construction of the campus has been done. And so we started with 10% to learn, and then we will step by step increase. We have currently 4 majors of communications and media, computer science, economics, earth and environmental sciences, and the medium of instruction is English. Next. The aim is to give affordable, needs-blind education. Heavily subsidized. 95% of all the cost is subsidized by you-know-who, right? The AKDN and Hazar Imam subsidizes 95% of the cost. 50% almost of the students are female, and 70% come from small towns and rural areas, because this is a university meant for those people, not from the city dwellers. Next. So look at what happened to these graduates. They have gone to Brown. Akila Hassanzada is a refugee girl from Afghanistan. She studied at the Aga Khan School in Karachi. She was very good. She applied to UCA, got in. She became the class president. And then Brown gave her a scholarship, and AKF gave, Aga Khan scholarship she got. And after that, we have the example of Duke, Sadaf Sutaria, and then Karligash Kasyanova. Duke is also a Ivy League university. We have students at many other universities. This Karligash is from Kazakhstan, and she studied computer science at Simon Fraser University in Canada. She stood first. And she was so good that Microsoft offered her a job among 100 different candidates. So we then knew that our quality was not bad. It is at least competing. But we have to all the time increase our objectives. And these are just 3 examples. We have got girls in National University of Singapore on full scholarship, at Cambridge at half scholarship, and many other places, University of Michigan. So we are very proud of our graduates. Next. So in the graduate school, we have got these kinds of different institutes. We've got climate change, economic development, promotion of cultural heritage, civil society and gender equity, and public health. Next. So, next. Address multifaceted development challenges through research and education. Hazar Imam wants this university to be a research university, just like AKU. We have to be a research university. We are not going to settle for just a teaching objective. And of course, we have been offering executive master's program in Afghanistan at the request of the Ministry of Finance. The entire middle-ranking set of civil servants have been trained in master's degree of UCA. Unfortunately, with the Taliban coming, many of them had to go. But some of them are still there, and they are asking us, when are you coming back to start the second program? I mean, we already had 2 programs. They want to now have more programs. And we are not afraid of the Taliban. I'll tell you in a minute why we are not afraid of Taliban. And these are the people who graduated in one of the classes. These are all Afghans. They come to our campuses and they do online as well. Let's go next. And here we have full scholarship for Central Asians to complete PhDs. We have to develop our faculty. And the faculty we sent 73 graduates to go there to do graduate studies, and 22 have come back and they are serving UCA and other Acadian agencies. And here is an example. In Cambridge, we have got 4. In fact, we have got 5. There's only 4 here. And they are from different parts. There's a Tajik, there's Kazakh, there's Pakistanis too. So they are all our scholars. And I was in Cambridge just a week ago at the invitation of the Vice Chancellor. You saw in the video, Princess Zara came to Cambridge and we signed an agreement with the Cambridge. So the Vice Chancellor had invited us to say, we want to continue our work with you. We are so happy, we want to continue. So Cambridge is not some institution that goes to any and every university. In fact, they don't even open doors for other universities. But because Hazar Imam was known to them and they had confidence, and I had a little relationship with the Vice Chancellor myself from Canada and elsewhere, so he knew that we are not joking. This is a serious institution that he said, I will support. And then after that, his next Vice President came last week. She invited us, and we went and discussed new ideas with them. Next. These are our partners. Look at who they are. Oxford, Cambridge, New York University, University of Toronto, Simon Fraser, Alberta, British Columbia, Victoria, University of Technology, Sydney. And we have got all of them. And the Higher School of Economics in Moscow, which is one of their best schools, best universities in Russia. That's how we have spread our know-how and connections, and it is important to look at not just one segment, not the Western only, but Eastern as well. Next. We signed the MOU with UCA, with Cambridge, I mentioned to you. Next. And this is the latest picture last week with the new Vice Chancellor right here. She is from Princeton, and we have agreed to do next things. And of course, quickly people ask me, what is the cost of this? You told us this subsidy and everything. The cost of educating one person per year in our School of Arts and Sciences is $25,000. That's what it cost us. Now, we cannot expect people to pay $25,000, so we said we'll advertise for $8,000. And $5,000 is for tuition, $3,000 is for room and board and other costs. And we thought maybe some people will pay, some people will be given some support. But when the evaluation of the applications was made, we were very surprised. On an average, each student pays only $1,200 a year, which is the 95% subsidy. They only pay 5%. And we check their background. It is not that we just accept their letter. We want to know, do you have a car or do you have anything? No, my father runs a bicycle or a motorcycle. I've got 5 children. One of them is already in another university. 2 are studying in school. And my father is a school teacher. Now what are you going to get out of that? So we have to, and Hazar Imam said very clearly, needs blind has to be done, but on merit. We are not going to give it to anybody who is not meritorious. Okay. Then moving forward, in the School of Professional and Continuing Education, or these 250,000 people who graduated, we charge them between $100 and $200 for their course. Next. And of course, we created lots of jobs, 1,500 construction jobs, 1,000 permanent and new permanent faculty members and staff are working at UCA. And what do you call it, the capital cost, already in just the 2 campuses we have invested 176 million. And another 16 million is going to be invested at the Tech Ali campus. So these are huge commitments by the Imamat. Move on. So people tell me, I sari vatu to kari ya par kuro problem to huna ke bado saro hai. You understood what I said. People say, oh, you always come and tell us good things, but surely there must be some issues. But if I sat down and talk to you about the issues, we'll be here until Chandrat. Because we have so many issues that it's difficult to describe all of them, but I'll just list just these 6. First, we have huge distances between the campuses, and even from the city, capital city to the campus. From Dushanbe, the capital of Tajikistan, to Khorog, which is the place where our campus is, it takes 11 hours of driving on mountain roads which have avalanches, mudslides, snowfalls, rain, name it, and they're all very dangerous roads. But 11 hours it takes. When I go there, it takes me at least 11 hours. And the connectivity is an issue. Communication is an issue. Recruiting the faculty. Who will want to go in the back of Beyond? People don't go here. If you send them to Samburu, they won't even go now. So the point is that we have here a situation where people say, why should I go over there? So that is why we built a campus that was beautiful, which was very comfortable, which people can stay there. And Hazar Imam said to us that people will get sick of the mountain. They get mountain sickness. Mountain claustrophobia is what he said. So give them good food, give them good atmosphere, and give them things to do, and maybe once in a while to come to the city as well. So we have to look after their mental health also. If you stayed in the same place, you will also feel very uncomfortable. Some people feel very uncomfortable living in Nairobi itself, leave alone living in Koro. So we are used to moving around. And then, of course, political instability. You all heard about it. I'm not going to draw pictures, but we can talk about it if we have time. And, of course, we don't have resources. The only resource we have is His Highness. The Chancellor provides, and the governments give us some support. Donor agencies give us some support, good support for research and so on. But all these tuition fees that we have to bear, we bear it through the Imamat grants. So I want to also mention that all this was not just done by full-time staff. We have over 200 TKN volunteers. You understand, all of you TKN volunteers, right? 200 TKN volunteers have served or are serving. Not all of them serving at the same time. Some of them have served, some are remotely, some are on campuses, and they have done a marvelous job. We could not have done this without TKN volunteers. What do? They develop academic programs, construction technology they gave us, website design, information technology, communication technology, and of course, emergency planning. If supposing a terrorism comes up, supposing an earthquake comes, how do we protect the campus? How do we protect the students? All of that, we have to have manuals. We brought a technical expert from Canada who is head of the Ontario Schools Safety committee and the safety department. He developed everything. He stayed there, he talked to the people, to the government, and determined if the buildings were safe and so on. They are all seismically resistant buildings as well. And then, of course, in human resources, writing skills, internal audit. Internal audit, when we finished construction of the campus, Hazar Imam said that you have checked the internal audit is all right. I said, yes, our auditor has also confirmed, our internal auditor is. He said, well, I'll send Sadru Datu after you. He will send his hounds to you. Are you sure? I said, we are very happy. Please send. I know Sadru very well, and I said afterwards to Sadru, I said, Hazar Imam said you have to come and do the audit. Send your TKN. We are ready anytime. So they came, they developed a nice big report, and they submitted to Hazar Imam. He was very happy to see that. They were very complimentary. We felt happy that a third party with third and fresh eyes have come and seen, because we are accountable to the Jamaat and to the Imamat. Every penny we spend, we are accountable. It's important to remember that. Often institutions may not recall that they have a moral duty. It's not just a business duty. And of course, finance and all these kinds of things, they have all contributed, the TKN. Before we go to the next slide, I want to take this opportunity. I know there are some TKN volunteers here. Some of them are for AKU, some are for UCA, some are for other Imamat and Jamati institutions. May I make a request, President Saiba, with your permission, to request them to stand and be acknowledged? TKN volunteers, please. Please stand up. There must be some TKN volunteers. Are there no TKN? I know, Nurali, you are a TKN volunteer. Come on, give them a big hand. There is another one over there. Where is Mansoor Saleh? Yes, stand up. Why are you so shy? Why are you so shy? Now, there you are. You see, this is the beauty of TKN volunteers. They don't put themselves in the front. They are ready to do whatever the work is. Qazi Najaf, nothing more. You have to work and no words. So, this is the TKN volunteers who made it possible for us. I have to tell you, some of these volunteers have spent all their time there, leaving their families and doing all kinds of things for us. I cannot thank enough the TKN volunteers. And every time we are with either Hazar Imam or with Princess Zara, Prince Rahim, we talk about the benefit we have received from this Golden Jubilee Nazrana through time and knowledge. Next. So just give you a couple of examples. What is the level of these volunteers? Here is Ali Khalfan. He's a TKN volunteer, but he's also vice president of Walt Disney in California. He's not an ordinary executive. He's vice president of Disney. And he comes there and he explains to people in the media and communications what it is like to be a professional in that field. What happened here? Okay, then we have the next one. Zabin Visram, she's an associate professor at the Gleon Institute of Higher Education in London, and she's developing innovative tourism curriculum for our sister universities, which are public universities in Khorog and Narin. Very, very competent. And we have also Jalal Molu, Corporate Information Security Officer at Shankar in London. He has information technology and compliance consultant. This is a very difficult field in the world to do. So these are the examples. There are from Canada, they are from United States, they are from Europe, they're everywhere. They are from Africa as well. Next. And we have Alia Lavji. She is content editor of Capita London, UK. She's a digital content consultant. So we don't have to hire an expert on digital content. We just request the TKN, and they are honored that we have been asked to give seva. Next. Here is another one, Hannah van Huwen, who is from London, and she's a student at UCL, and she's supporting geographic information systems teaching in Narin. We were doing the mapping of the geography, and she came over, and she came as an intern under the Global Encounter. But she was so good that she started teaching them how to do it. These are all, she's a data analyst. She's a student at Brown University, but she's also working with us as a TCAN. Next, these are Global Encounter interns. And of course, this is the end of my slides. And I thank you so much for giving so much attention to it. Thank you. So I think there's probably not much time, but if you have any questions, we can take 2 or 3 questions and then we can conclude. Yes. Can you give them a mic, please? Just give me 1 second until the mic comes. Here, take this one. Okay, all right.
Was it?
No, right here. There you go.
If I could put it in one word, leadership. I saw so many things that you've achieved over there, but it seems that you're working in an at an organic rate, and the word leadership didn't come up. As far as I remember, are there any, you could say, courses or degree courses being conceived on the problems that we're having in leadership, not only on a communal level, but also at a national level and in international relationships, because this is going to hit you, or if it hasn't already, because we've already got the problems in the Pamirs. Could you talk more about that?
Certainly. I mentioned something that may have slipped my mind when I was looking at the slides. Our objectives are 2. Develop leaders of tomorrow who are entrepreneurs. Leadership training is part of every single course that is there. Every single course we teach, whether this is computer science or it is economics, leadership training is very, very important. It's very critical. And when we have leadership, we have also managed to recruit some very powerful people from within Central Asia and some people from outside of Central Asia who are helping us to take the leadership of the institution but grow from within. Local indigenous leadership is critical. All right, next question. Okay, I think we are a bit late. Oh, there is, okay, I was hoping that'll be the end.
Oh, sorry, so should I ask or?
Stand up.
Thank you for that presentation. I just wanted to ask, because you've led both of these institutions, but so 24 years after the signature of the charter for UCA, if you sort of compare it to where AKU was 24 years after its charter was signed, where does it sort of compare in terms of AKU? Like, if you could sort of look back and make that comparison?
You see, thank you so much. That's a very good question. The scale of AKU at this stage of 25 years was different because it has a huge teaching hospital. We don't have a teaching hospital. The number of students at AKU in the medicine were about 400 or 500, which is what we have in undergraduate program. In School of Professional and Continuing Education, you heard me say, we have at any given time 15,000 students studying at the School of Professional and Continuing Education. 7.5 of that, as we speak today, are in Afghanistan. Of the 7.5, 40% are women. So you can see that there is a huge objective to spread this thing, and believe me, it is not an easy task, but when we look at AKU, we were developing nurses for our hospital, doctors also. Here we are also developing our own faculty. We are probably not at the same scale, but we are at a similar level. Quality-wise, we are very proud to be at that level. Today, the governments acknowledge us and say, we are very proud of they call it our university. Last question, this gentleman is very anxious.
Yeah, with that, may I suggest This is a local program, but may I suggest for an international program for creating leaders of future loyal to Hazar Imam and nobody else?
Well, that's something that you discuss with the President of the Council, and the Jamaat must think it over before we make any recommendation to Hazar Imam. But it is important to have leadership nationally and internationally. And we must also be humble that we are not a rich community, and we are not a large community compared to many others. Sorry, okay, last one.
Thank you for a very informative presentation. You talked a little bit about some of the differences between UCA and AKU. I'm just curious, from a branding and scale perspective, what was the thinking behind not creating AKU Asia Campus and doing its own branding, and how much did geopolitics play within that decision?
I was hoping that question wouldn't come up. But I'm very happy you raised it. And one of the reasons I didn't speak about it, because usually that's one of the questions that people are anxious to know. AKU came to Kenya and Tanzania and Uganda, and why didn't it go to Central Asia? There are many, many reasons. Sorry? No, can I finish answering that question? It has to be the last question, because I think now it is a bit late, and I think audience has already been very late sitting here. And the rain hasn't come, but it will come, inshallah. So quickly, Central Asia is a very different atmosphere. It was not the same colonial past. In Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, here, it was very similar. Systems of education could be understood easily. There we had a Soviet system. AKU is a Muslim university. These people say we don't have a state religion. We have secular nations. We can't accept. The moment I told them that I come from AKU, I'm president, and they saw the charter, and the first line says AKU shall be a Muslim university. They said, we don't want anything Muslim. Tell His Highness we are not interested. So it was clear. And actually, this was well before the government spoke. Because in our commission that was studying, what we did was we went through all the options, and we reached the conclusion that it is such a different institution. There are no schools of medicine or nursing. So what is AKU going to give us at this moment? Transferable skills were possible here. You had AK Aga Khan Platinum Jubilee Hospital, which we then converted into AKUH. So there were many reasons for giving the same name. And then over there, the founders were who? Imamat, but also the 3 countries were the founders. And despite that, our commission recommended to Hazar Imam very clearly that the terms of reference of our commission was, give me the recommendation for names. And so we gave 5 names. Each one of them had a Aga Khan attached to it. So Hazar Imam looked at it, and he was silent for a few seconds, looked like a very long time, but we were just listening. He said, I see what you have proposed, and I can understand that, but you know what? He says, I have already one university in my name. Why would I want another university in my name? Somebody who is funding it, and operational cost and everything, and who's conceiving it, he's saying, I don't need another one with my name. Now it becomes a University of Central Asia, not the Aga Khan University. You understood? And it's a huge Jamat. I spoke about that to you before. And there's a huge population of 47 million people in that region. So let it be their university. And they know who started it. So that is the reason why AKU was not transported. Different entities, different approach, different mentality, very different. Okay, shall we conclude?
The question was answered already, thanks.
Our question is answered. Thank you so much. I know some people are disappointed I didn't give you a chance, but we can speak privately here, and I will be happy to answer your question. Don't worry, I won't run away. Thank you so much. But before I sit down, I just want to once again thank you, President Sahiba, and your team, volunteers, the council, Mukhi Kamriya Sahib. Very kindly, you gave us the opportunity to speak also and arranged everything with your volunteers. We really are most grateful. And I want to also acknowledge some very powerful volunteers who are sitting here. Nur Ali Monji among them. He is the man who has really helped us to organize our program. I just want to acknowledge him in his hometown. Thank you so much. Before we conclude, it would be nice if Mukhi Sahib or Kamriya Sahib or whoever and the Jamaat kindly offer a prayer for the success of UCA. I remember Mawlana Hazar Imam once told me, I said to him, when we go to talk with Jamats, we always request them to pray for the institution. And he said, yes, Jamaat prays, it is heard. The prayers of the Jamaat are always heard. So I'm taking advantage, President Sahiba and Mukhi Sahib and Kamriya Sahib, for your presence here, that Jamaat may be requested to offer a prayer so that the institution can progress. It's our collective effort. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Vazir Sahib. I'm sure that we've all had a very enlightening evening learning more about UCA. I was especially interested in learning or hearing more about Munira Mir Mahmudova, and maybe one day we'll get to Korok to try one of her restaurants. So to end the program, I'd like to invite Nazma Ibrahim, who is our Nairobi Center Chair, to give a vote of thanks.
What an inspirational evening. Yali Madat, everybody. I stand here filled with a lot of gratitude, Vazir Sahib. You have shared an amazing and enlightening session of UCA. Sorry. On behalf of President Sahiba, the National Council, and the Nairobi Center Coordinating Committee, we would like to express our sincere appreciation to you and to Malik Sahib for giving us and spending your evening and giving us an overview and awareness of this university. It's mind-blowing, and I'm sure everybody will agree with me that what an excellence this university has become. We are truly fortunate to have this opportunity from a person who is of such caliber and expertise. And no wonder Hazar Imam asked you to come back from your retirement to take over this position. So we all agree that you're doing a great job. And so I want to say Asante Sana and give you our prayers that may all your wishes be fulfilled in making this vision of Hazar Imam come true. And we are all together with you at any given time. Malik Sahib, thank you very much for bringing on this to us and giving the Nairobi Jamat this beautiful vision. So thank you. It's been a great evening. I want to wish you a safe trip to Mombasa and further on. So Safari Salama, and that's what we say in Swahili. Thank you very much to all of you here physically and those that are online with us. Asante, Mukhi Kamriya Sahibs, Mukhani Kamriani Sahibas. My team that has worked really tirelessly. Thank you to all of you, the comms team. Farhan, where are you? He made sure that we had this live setup. And to the two boys here. Kaiser, thank you very much. Thank you, Shazmin. Thank you to the PNC for giving us good food, and to the staff, and to everybody that has made this session happen. Good evening, drive home safely, and inshallah, see you soon.